Imagine taking, like, the absolute harshest environment you can possibly think of.
Right, deep space.
Exactly. The radioactive freezing, just completely unforgiving vacuum of deep space. And then sending a guy out there stark naked, riding a longboard.
It is the ultimate 1960s comic book absurdity. I mean, it really is.
It's so ridiculous. But what if the physics required to make Marvel Silver Surfer survive actually match up perfectly with the most cutting-edge quantum mechanics we have today?
See, it sounds impossible on its face because the universe is, well, it's incredibly hostile to biology.
Yeah, to say the least.
Right. You normally need layers of electromagnetic shielding, immense pressure regulation, and, I mean, decades of aerospace engineering just to survive a few minutes outside Earth's atmosphere.
You can't just paddle out there.
Exactly. Yet when you look closely at the lore constructed around this character, the underlying principles form a surprisingly robust blueprint for theoretical astrophysics.
Which is wild.
Okay.
So, welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. Today, we are taking you on a mission to answer a question that honestly probably shouldn't make sense.
But we're asking it anyway.
We are. Can the Silver Surfer actually exist within the bounds of modern science? Like, are his powers something that could theoretically work in reality?
And to figure this out, we have pulled together a really fascinating stack of sources for you.
Yeah, we've got a comprehensive breakdown of the Silver Surfer's anatomy, some incredibly detailed community theories that map out the actual mechanics of his powers, and this is my favorite part, a brilliant sci-fi biology column by Will McCarthy.
Oh, that column is great.
It really is. It explores the real-world physics that could actually construct a being like this. But before we throw you into the deep end of, quantum superstrings and metamaterials,
Let's briefly ground the lore for those who might not be completely steeped in it.
yeah, give us the quick origin story.
So the character begins as Norrin Radd, living on this utopian planet called Zenla. Poverty and disease have been completely eliminated.
Sounds nice.
It is, until this utopia is interrupted by Galactus. He's this godlike cosmic entity who literally consumes planets to sustain himself.
Just a slight interruption to your utopia, right?
Just a minor planetary apocalypse. So, to save his home, Norrin Radd makes this massive sacrifice. He offers to become the herald of Galactus.
Basically finding other planets for him to eat.
Exactly. Seeking out uninhabited planets for his new master in exchange for Zenla's survival. Galactus agrees and transforms him, granting him a fraction of his own vast energy.
Right, the power cosmic.
Right.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because the reality behind his creation in the real world is incredibly funny to me.
It's so completely mundane compared to the lore.
Right. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby are putting together this massive Fantastic Four story in 1966. Lee tells Kirby they need a herald for Galactus.
And Kirby goes off to his drafting table.
And he comes back with a silver guy on a surfboard. And Lee's like, what is this? Why a surfboard?
Because Jack Kirby was living in California during the height of the beach craze.
Exactly. And honestly, he was just tired of drawing conventional spaceships.
He literally saw kids surfing in California and simply decided to translate that motion to the cosmos. I mean, the surfboard origin is pure pop culture fluff.
Load of fluff.
But the actual mechanics of the Silver Surfer, like the way the text subsequently attempts to justify this power cosmic, it accidentally aligns with these mind-bending theories in contemporary science.
Which brings us to the first biological hurdle of surfing the cosmos. I mean, you need protection, right?
You absolutely do.
From zero gravity, absolute zero temperatures, a relentless bombardment of cosmic radiation. And Norrin Radd just has his silver skin.
Let's look at the anatomical breakdown from the sources. When Galactus transformed him, he encased Norrin in this micron-thick shell of a super heavy metal alloy.
They call it galactic glaze, right?
Galactic glaze, yeah. Now, a micron is unimaginably thin for armor.
It's like microscopic.
Basically. But the community physics theorists point out this material wouldn't operate like conventional steel or titanium.
It can't, wouldn't stop anything.
Right. It would have to be forged from super heavy atoms that exist way off what chemists call the theoretical island of stability.
Okay, unpack that for us, the island of stability.
So in real-world chemistry, as you pack more and more protons and neutrons into an atomic nucleus, the electrostatic repulsion makes the atom highly unstable.
But they just want to break apart.
Exactly. Super heavy elements usually decay into lighter elements in a fraction of a second, but theoretical physics suggests that if you hit specific magic numbers of protons and neutrons,
The strong nuclear force balances perfectly.
you got it. It creates ultra-dense, entirely stable matter. So by stabilizing these super heavy elements, the electrons are packed so densely around the nucleus that they act like an absolute lead vest on a cosmic scale.
Wow, so it traps rogue radiation before it ever reaches his internal biology.
Precisely. And the sources note this galactic glaze allows him to casually plunge into the center of live stars or, survive the crushing infinite pressure of a black hole.
And just completely ignore the friction of atmospheric reentry, which is crazy. But, and here's where it gets really interesting, Will McCarthy's science fiction biology column poses a wild alternative to that super heavy atom theory.
I love McCarthy's take on this.
It's so good. McCarthy proposes that the surfer skin might not actually be made of atoms or molecules at all.
Yeah, he suggests it could be a perfectly reflective space-time barrier.
Okay, to visualize this for you listening, think of the edge of the screen in an old-fashioned game of Pong.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. The digital ball hits the edge and flawlessly bounces back without transferring any energy to the boundary itself. The boundary doesn't heat up or take damage.
And it just reflects it entirely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the surfer isn't wearing armor in that scenario. He's wrapped in a cosmic cheat code.
A literal cheat code.
The harsh environment of space isn't interacting with him biologically. It's being universally rejected by this barrier. He is literally a localized physical glitch in the programming of the universe.
The environmental hazards just bounce off, preserving the delicate biological system inside from any external thermodynamic exchange.
But wait, I have a pushback on this. If he is a literal, absolute space-time barrier where everything bounces off, he shouldn't be able to physically interact with anything.
Why not?
Well, if matter and forces are just deflected, why doesn't he just fall right through the crust of the Earth when he visits? Gravity wouldn't be able to grip him conventionally.
That is a fantastic point, and it's the exact paradox McCarthy addresses in the column.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. The barrier reflects photons, which is why he appears perfectly silver and shiny. All ambient light bounces off his coordinates in space.
Okay, that explains the look.
But crucially, it also reflects gravitational energy.
Whoa. Wait, really?
Yes. He alters how gravity and mass interact with his specific location. This reflection of gravitational waves explains his seemingly impossible feats of mass manipulation.
Oh, so that's why he is so incredibly light on his feet.
Exactly. And how he can selectively slide or phase through solid buildings without causing damage. Because fundamentally, he isn't a solid object interacting with classical mechanics anymore.
He's a localized disruption in space-time, dynamically managing his own gravitational footprint. That is insane.
It's brilliant.
Okay, so the Pong barrier elegantly solves the vacuum of space problem. He's safe from the environment. But now we have a massive thermodynamic nightmare.
Right, the internal problem.
Yeah. If he is hermetically sealed in an impenetrable space-time bubble, nothing is getting in and nothing is getting out. Humans need food, water, oxygen. We need to expel waste.
The basics of biology.
Right. If you seal a biological organism in an absolute shell, they suffocate or starve very quickly.
Well, the core engine of his survival fundamentally rewrites human biology. The sources describe his sustenance coming entirely from the power cosmic.
Which operates as a non-baryonic energy, right?
Yes, and baryonic matter is just the normal matter we interact with daily. Protons, neutrons.
The stuff that makes up apples and spaceships and us.
Exactly. So non-baryonic energy implies his internal systems operate entirely outside standard atomic physics, specifically functioning at the subquark level.
Okay, so we were talking about the absolute smallest foundational building blocks of reality.
The very bottom layer. The text mentions that the power cosmic creates a network of interconnected devices inside him, but they aren't machines with gears or wires.
Like, not tiny metal robots.
Right. They are composed of standing waves in the space-time superstring substructure.
Which leans heavily into string theory, yeah.
Very much so. The idea that at the most fundamental level, particles aren't dots, but vibrating strings of energy.
And the frequency of the vibration determines what the particle is.
Exactly. He controls these strings through stabilized Yocto wormholes in the quantum vacuum.
A yoctometer. That is 1/septillionth of a meter. That's absurdly small.
Unfathomably small. But through these microscopic wormholes, he's constantly drawing infinite energy from the quantum vacuum of space itself.
Okay, so instead of a generic sci-fi battery, think of this zero-point energy like a water wheel placed in an invisible, infinitely deep river of quantum energy.
That's a great way to picture it.
Because even in the vacuum of space, where the surface looks perfectly still and empty, quantum mechanics tells us there's this massive undercurrent of virtual particles bubbling in and out of existence constantly.
As boiling with energy.
Right. So his Yocto wormholes are essentially dipping into that roaring undercurrent, extracting the kinetic energy.
And by manipulating those quantum superstrings, he can change the vibration frequencies.
To convert that raw background energy directly into whatever sustenance his cells need on a macro scale, that is honestly brilliant.
And because his sustenance is purely energetic and drawn directly from the vacuum, his biology has adapted to become a perfectly closed-loop system.
No waste.
None. The anatomy sources point out that his highly enhanced musculature generates absolutely zero fatigue toxins.
Okay, because when a normal human exercises, muscles burn glycogen and produce lactic acid.
Right, we experience fatigue and need to sweat to manage heat. But the sources actually compared his physiology to the Hulk in that regard.
The surfer never produces any byproducts of exertion.
Never. He never gets tired, he never sweats, and he could theoretically fight or surf forever without taking a single breath or stopping for a cosmic meal.
Okay, so we have established a biologically immortal, quantum-powered anomaly seamlessly encased in a space-time barrier.
Not bad for a guy on a surfboard.
Seriously. But that brings us to the elephant in the room. The vehicle. We need to examine whether a cosmic longboard makes any scientific sense as a mode of interstellar transportation.
The absolute most 1960s part of this entire character.
Hands down. So, according to the lore, the board is made of the exact same galactic glaze as his skin, and it is mentally linked to him.
Right. He doesn't steer it by shifting his weight.
No, it responds directly to his cognitive commands. And to move faster than the speed of light-achieving superluminal speeds, the board taps into that exact same zero-point energy of the universe.
But the method of movement is where the actual physics becomes just staggering. The sources explain that the board doesn't use thrusters to push itself through space.
So it's not like a rocket.
Not at all. Instead, it warps the space around itself. It actively crunches space-time in front of its trajectory and stretches space-time behind it, creating an isolated warp bubble.
Wait a minute. Crunching space in front and expanding it behind. That isn't just comic book magic.
Right.
That is the exact mathematical framework behind Miguel Alcubierre's warp drive metric, isn't it?
It is the exact framework.
That's crazy.
Because special relativity dictates that nothing with mass can travel through space faster than the speed of light.
Universal speed limit.
Right. But the Alcubierre metric bypasses this by suggesting you don't move the ship through space at all, you move the space around the ship.
Because space-time itself has no speed limit for how fast it can expand or contract. So Jack Kirby draws a surfboard because he wants to cash in on the Beach Boys trend. But the text's subsequent explanation, written to justify how a surfboard could logically fly between galaxies, accidentally drafts a perfect blueprint for real theoretical faster-than-light travel.
It's an amazing coincidence. The board isn't flying. It is literally surfing a wave of warped space-time.
Surfing space-time. Wow.
And the engineering of the board goes even further to solve logistical problems.
Oh, there's more?
Oh, yeah. The community deep dive highlighted that the board also acts as a basement universe.
A basement universe. What does that mean?
It contains a portal to a pocket dimension that is up to 5 times larger on the inside than the physical dimensions of the board on the outside.
Okay, so it functions like a cosmic Mary Poppins bag.
That's exactly it.
He can place people, entire alien artifacts, or massive amounts of planetary data inside it.
And what makes this an incredibly elegant solution for theoretical physics is the management of mass inertia.
Right, because normally if you place a massive object onto a standard vehicle, the vehicle becomes heavier.
Which requires exponentially more energy to accelerate. But because the interior of the board is a pocket dimension, the space-time manifold pinches off into a separate topological space.
So placing mass inside it does not alter the board's mass inertia in our primary universe.
Precisely.
We have the ultimate superluminal vehicle that bypasses mass restrictions entirely. But piloting a machine that moves faster than light introduces a massive cognitive problem.
The reaction time.
Yeah. If you are surfing past stars at millions of miles an hour, human reaction time is going to result in you crashing into an asteroid field before your optic nerve even registers the light from the rocks.
You'd be vaporized before you knew it hit you. Navigation at those speeds requires a processor that can constantly calculate the shifting variables of multiple star systems simultaneously.
So his brain had to be upgraded too.
Yes. The sources state his mind was upgraded to become superhumanly fast. He can process complex scenarios and react in a microsecond.
I mean, the anatomy source mentioned is a specific instance where he analyzed the atmospheric composition, geological stability, and biological makeup of every single planet in multiple different galaxies in a matter of hours.
The sheer volume of data processing required for that task is, it would melt a conventional supercomputer.
Oh, instantly.
And he accomplishes this through his cosmic senses. He doesn't rely on biological eyes receiving visible light. He perceives the universe's energy fields directly.
So he's not seeing things the way we see things.
No. He can view subatomic particles interacting, and he can perceive the biological signatures of life forms clearly from distances spanning trillions of miles.
That's haunting almost.
He essentially experiences the universe as a continuous flow of quantum information.
But if we connect this vast data processing back to the narrative of Norrin Radd, the actual person, there is a profound and tragic cost to this biological upgrade, isn't there?
Very much so.
Because when Galactus infused him with the power cosmic to allow him to survive and process this scale of data, Norrin Radd lost his soul.
He did.
And the sources are incredibly specific about this transaction. The power cosmic doesn't just act as a battery, it actually replaces the fundamental quality of a soul within a being. It literally becomes his essence.
And the aesthetic design reinforces this psychological shift. The shiny silver look wasn't an arbitrary choice by Galactus.
Where did it come from?
Galactus plucked that design directly from Norrin's own mind, basing it on Norrin's childhood superhero fantasies.
Oh, that dork.
He stripped away the man and replaced him with an idealized, emotionally detached avatar.
Which raises a really wild philosophical question for you listening. If his original soul is completely gone, replaced by non-baryonic energy, and he is just processing infinite data through quantum Yocto wormholes inside an impenetrable space-time barrier, is Norrin Radd actually dead?
It's a valid question.
Is the Silver Surfer, for all intents and purposes, just an incredibly advanced, universe-spanning artificial intelligence that happens to be wearing the skin of a kid's childhood fantasy?
In a strictly biological and spiritual sense, the man from Zenlon no longer exists.
Yeah.
But the paradox of his existence is what synthesizes this character so beautifully, It's what keeps him relevant decades later.
Yeah, that tension.
Exactly. He possesses the ultimate cosmic awareness. He can read the quantum states of minds. He can literally sense the gravitational heartbeat of the universe. Yet he lacks the fundamental, chaotic human soul that would allow him to truly feel a part of it.
He is a god who processes the memory of what it was like to be a man. But the hardware required to actually experience that humanity was removed to make room for the warp drive.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
He is connected to absolutely everything on a quantum level, but spiritually isolated from all of it.
And we started this exploration looking at a character created in 1966 because an artist wanted to draw something easier than a spaceship.
It was a goofy gimmick.
A total gimmick. But when you apply modern scientific theory to the lore that was written to justify his existence, it transforms from a gimmick into a remarkably robust thought experiment.
It really does. It serves as a stunningly accurate representation of concepts we are still actively trying to figure out today. Quantum mechanics, space-time barriers, zero-point energy extraction, the Alcubierre warp drive metric. All of it. Viewed through the lens of modern science fiction biology, the Silver Surfer operates on surprisingly sound theoretical physics.
So I think the takeaway for you listening today is to reevaluate the seemingly absurd.
Yeah.
The next time you encounter a piece of pop culture that looks completely ridiculous on the surface, take a second look at the mechanics beneath it.
You never know what's hiding in there.
Right. Because in the attempt to explain the impossible to an audience, creators often accidentally draft a blueprint for theoretical physics that our current engineering just hasn't mastered yet.
It makes you wonder how much of today's science fiction is quietly writing tomorrow's physics textbooks.
A lot of it, probably.
Probably. Well, I want to leave you with a final lingering thought today, derived directly from Will McCarthy's sci-fi biology column. We discussed how the surfer's body functions as a perfectly reflective space-time barrier, right?
Right.
And McCarthy explicitly described him as a, quote, programming glitch in the information fabric of the universe.
A physical glitch wandering through space.
Right. But if the Silver Surfer's body is truly a programming glitch in the cosmic fabric, as the science suggests, Doesn't that inherently imply the Marvel universe itself is operating as a simulation?
Oh, wow.
Right? You cannot have a glitch unless there is a foundational program running the reality. And if that universe is a simulation, who programmed Galactus?
That is a wild thought to end on.
Keep surfing the cosmos, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.